In the last episode, you heard from Diego Camejo, the founder and CEO of She's Wasted, and we talked about how to win with UGC at scale. Now, today on episode number 36, get ready. Andrew Case is the co founder of NoonBrew, which creates superfood teas for improving sleep and energy. Now, I'm super excited about this episode because we're going to be talking about one of the topics that I love to talk about, which is how to win with direct response style ads. Now, I'm your host, Raphael Paulin-Daigle, and I'm the founder of SplitBase. Now, this is Minds of E-commerce. Now, this episode is brought to you by, well, SplitBase. At SplitBase, we help leading direct-to-consumer brands such as Dr Squatch, Hyperice, and Amica A/B test, design, build, and manage high-converting landing pages and on-site experiences. Turns out we've generated a combined $100 million in additional revenue per year for our clients. And that's because our optimization programs pinpoints exactly where your store is losing money most, and then we help you fix it. The result, increased conversions, AOV, and of course, improved marketing efficiency. So if you want to scale your e-commerce brand profitably, we're the ones to call, and you can do so by requesting a proposal on splitbase.com today. So get more out of your marketing spend and go on splitbase.com to request your proposal. All right, Andrew, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, super excited.
So, this podcast is all about going deep, right? And dissecting one or two key growth strategies so our listeners can get as much value as possible right away. Now, just for some context, for how long have you been working on NoonBrew?
So we started NoonBrew about 3 years ago. We had the idea
Awesome.
3 years ago, and then we launched 2.5 years ago. So it took us about 6 months to launch.
Fantastic. What are maybe some highlights that you've had over the past couple of years that you're willing to share?
Yeah, so we launched in September 2021, scaled to 7 figures pretty quickly within that. Launched our nighttime team NoonBrew in October of 2022 and had like a really great 6-figure launch within our first 24 hours. So it was a massive win for us, especially being such a young company. And then recently, past few months, we got funding from a great VC, and
Amazing.
they've really leveled up the company. I would say like all the different things we had to go through within due diligence really helps to understand how we can build this company to scale, and also how do we build a company that in the end is going to be sellable.
That's fantastic. Now, we don't have a ton of time, so I want to make sure we talk about direct response style ads as much as possible in the time that we've got. So, but just because not everyone might be familiar with this, I would love if you could just maybe give us a little primer on what's a direct response style ad, especially for you guys, in your context.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know the definition of direct response ads, but I would just say like ads that are made to convert within that and have like a very pointed conversion pathway. And the direct response style ads that we create at NoonBrew really come from a lot of different sources of inspiration. We're always looking for different ads that are doing well from our competitors or different people within the ecom marketplace. We study the different funnels, the top 5 landing pages, or whatever it might be. A lot of people run whitelisted traffic. So we're always on the lookout for what are people doing to convert visitors into customers. And right now there's a lot of different things that are exciting that people are doing. And I think that is a huge opportunity to really scale companies efficiently.
Right. And I think it's worth noting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but generally a direct response ad, and it might be in your case, right, is you're really trying to make the sale from the ad, right? So it's more than just
100%. Yeah.
capturing attention. It's really how can I get people from attention, hook, and actually sale within the ad itself.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is definitely true. I think that like there's different styles of direct response ads. Like you'll have direct response ads like VSLs that can be up
Yep.
to an hour long, where after you click out of it or after you click on the ad, like you just get thrown a landing page that has
Yep.
a purchase form. There's nothing else there. So Dr. Gundry, and there's a ton of different
Yes.
direct response ones that are really good. We don't do that long of ads. I have friends that do, and
Mhm.
they do very well. But yeah, our ads can be, I would say, probably like a minute to 2 minutes in length. So it's not like super direct response, but
Right.
they normally have a very good conversion rate off of it.
Awesome. Now, what's been some of the things? Obviously, you've been trying those for a little while, and I know this has been key for you guys to grow the brand. What are some of the pro tips or things that you've learned that really made those ads successful for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the pro tips are one, you have to have a really good hook within there. I think that even taking a step back, you have to know what converts for people.
Mm,
Right now, we're getting a lot of our inspiration from TikTok because it's very tough
mm,
to get people's attention on TikTok. And if you can get their attention on TikTok, that means it's going to probably translate over to Facebook. It's like a really good testing ground. And then you're going to get a lot of scale on Facebook. You can get scale on TikTok too, but like the real scale can come from, I would say, Facebook.
right.
So we find a lot of ad creatives on TikTok, and we can see all the different metrics within it. We can see the comments, we can see the amount of saves, we can see how many people liked it, which Facebook sometimes hides that information
Mm,
and makes it a lot more difficult. But yeah, so we look on TikTok, and then whenever we have these different content sprints every single week. So we have a content sprint and we have an ad sprint within there. Content sprint will get a lot of content together and talk through what are the different types of ads that we want to use as inspiration. So myself, our marketing guy, content guy, we'll all get into a room and we'll discuss it. And marketing, our VP of marketing leads it, and he's incredible within that. And then we'll break down the different layers of the ad. So like the hook
mm,
is something that's super important. We transcribe the ads, so we'll look into all the different components of a successful ad, and like what are they doing within the first part, the second part, the third part? How do they close people? So that's
mm,
really important within there. What is the call to action? And then there's different sites like Kalo Data, for instance. Kalo Data is a really good one on TikTok where you can see what different brands are producing for TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop's a big one right now, but you can actually see like what are the different revenue amounts that people are making within there, and like what are the top performing ads for these different brands. So
mm.
we'll use that as inspiration, and we'll definitely study a lot within that. So Kalo Data, we use Foreplay as well. Foreplay saves all of our different ad
Foreplay
ideas,
is
Facebook
great.
ads library, and then TikTok.
Awesome. I love how you guys don't just say you reverse engineer it, but like you said, you transcribe it, you really, really study it to understand what are those triggers all along, the funnel. I think that's super interesting.
Exactly.
Now, are all your ads videos? Do you use a lot of static content as well? How many creatives are you testing at any given time?
We're testing a lot of creatives. We use a combination of video and statics.
Okay.
So statics are great, videos are great. Both of them serve different purposes. I think that, or I mean, they serve the same purpose. We want to convert people, but like
Yep.
some people are going to convert off a video, some people are going to convert off a static. And I think that you need to have like a full funnel type of approach within there because some people just are not going to listen to a video, and some people want to see a static image, or some
Mm,
people want to hear about a journey within there, and like, or they'll listen to the video, watch the video, and then get retargeted with a static ad, and then that's the one that will get them.
mm,
So I think that you need to have a full funnel approach where you have different types of videos for people in different buying stages. So top of funnel could be a hero's journey type of video where it's the founder talking about how they built the product or the different pain points that they went through. And then bottom of the funnel, you could have a reply to comment testimonial from an
mm.
influencer whitelisted. So you see that a lot with like Symbiotica or Seed or Armra. They do it
Yes.
very, very, very well. So you have all these different layers within your full funnel strategy, and you're just trying to get people at different stages of the buying cycle.
When you think of
But
these
like to answer your
layers,
question, we
yep.
probably test around like 30 to 50 different ads per week.
Awesome. Now, when you think of those layers from top, middle to bottom of funnel, do you actually set different targeting for those, or do you generally just take the broad approach and let Facebook figure out who's where?
Fraud. Yeah, I mean, Facebook's smarter than any of us. So
Yep.
we normally go we're fully broad right now within a mixture of CBO, ABO, ASC, and then we have different interest stacks where we'll scale horizontally within there.
Awesome. Now, Obviously you guys have been doing this for a while. The ad landscape keeps changing, let alone year over year. I mean, I think it is changing on a weekly basis at this point. But what are maybe some of the big challenges that you guys faced when it comes to scaling through the response ads, and how have you guys been able to overcome them? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think that like as you scale, you need more creatives.
Mm,
So constantly having new creatives is really important. And I think that just like knowing your metrics is the biggest thing, which sounds obvious, but it's something where you need to have a really good handle on your margins, on your retention profile. If you're not profitable first purchase, which it's getting harder and harder to be, especially for a supplement brand where our AOV is not as high.
mm.
It'd be tough to be profitable first purchase within ours. So if you're not profitable first purchase, like what's your payback period? And that's like a big thing that our investors have really harped on, and it's something that like has changed the way that I've really looked at our funnel. It's just like, what's our payback period within this, and like what are our guardrails for us to scale based off of, what funnel we're driving traffic to, what's the subscription rate within there, and then what are the LTVs, and or we look at lifetime contribution margins, like what's our lifetime contribution margin and how quickly do we get back to payback.
What are your thoughts? This is something I love to ask to every business that's got a subscription aspect to it. When you run these ads, do you try to get people to subscribe right away, or you try to get them into a one-time purchase first?
Subscribe. Yeah, I mean, it's very tough to change people's buying habits after they have already committed to one buying habit with you. Harry's did a
Mm,
really good study where they showed that doesn't matter how many discounts you throw at someone, what types of email funnels or whatever it might be, it's way better to get someone to subscribe the first time around than to try and get them to subscribe after. And they
mm,
could be a subscriber to Netflix, but a one-time
right.
purchaser for you, and they are not going
Yeah.
to subscribe without like a massive discount. And like, yeah, I mean, I think that that's why you see some of the most successful direct response companies, um, just force people into a subscription.
I love it. And the reason I ask that is because I feel like every time I ask that question, everybody's got their own philosophy around it, right? Like, hey, well, if we have a very high conversion rate for the first time purchase and there's a very low barrier to entry, well, we might have a very high chance of converting them and then they'll become a customer for life. Whereas there's many brands that we work with that are saying the exact same thing as you, which is, hey, even if my conversion rate is going to be a little lower over time, right? It's better off to have them as subscribers. And I think there's no right or wrong answer in the sense that you're probably right in the sense that, if you can have your subscribers right away, better go for that than one time. But every brand's going to have their different economics as well, right? And what works for one brand might be a bit different for the others. So just a note for listeners, base yourself off
It
your own
depends on your
metrics.
product.
But
Yeah, it
exactly.
depends on your product. And I think that like if you can create your product to be like ultimately you want lifetime customers. And sometimes you have to throw people into a subscription because
Yeah.
you don't really have that great of a product and like you have to force them into it. But other brands like they have it where they don't need to force people into a subscription. I mean, I think that like our product is really, really good and we don't have to force people into a subscription, but like
Mm,
we know that if you are a subscriber, your LTV is a lot higher than if you're a
yeah.
one-time purchaser, which you want to ultimately just try and nudge people into the subscription way
Yeah.
more and more.
I want to go back to the ads because we talked about, trying to convert people directly off the ads. You have a lot of creatives, but what happens after people click on the ads? Do you drop people into a specific funnel? Do you have landing pages? Do they go to PDPs? What's your strategy? And I'm sure that's always evolving and you're always testing it, but what does it look like so far?
Yeah, so we're always testing. We drive it to landing pages for the most part. Sometimes we'll drive to a PDP, but our PDP is like a landing page. So we tested out a lot of different styles. We've tested out 5 reasons why in the past. We've tested out listicles. We've tested out whitelisting different publishers and websites. So yeah, I think that like you just have to really test test. And you have to also understand like how to get, you know, a high conversion rate, but also a good revenue per session, or like a good subscription amount. So there's all these different things that you can optimize. And right now, actually, I have a meeting this afternoon with our VP of marketing, and it's how to get our AOV up, top of funnel. Because if you get our AOV up 10 to 20%, then we can unlock even more scale within there. If we can get our subscription rate up 10 to 20%, we can unlock scale. So how can we do these different tests that really can unlock growth? And that's the beauty of ecom, is that you unlock these different tests and you could, double your business overnight.
Totally. You talked about a lot of examples of things that you like, and dissecting successful campaigns and brands that you think are doing well. But what are some mistakes you think that a lot of brands are making when it comes to building direct response ads?
I think that the mistakes a lot of brands are making, it's not necessarily, I mean, there's different mistakes on like ads just not being that good,
Yep.
you know, not making enough of them. That's just content in general. Like
Mm,
a lot of it is like you, at the end of the day, are a content company, ecom, in a lot of different
yep.
ways, because you're trying to attract eyeballs. So you have to like be able to churn out a lot of content, and you have to find like a really good team that will help you to do that. So I think that like whenever we've stopped producing content on a weekly basis, that's normally when our CPA will steadily creep up. So you have to be producing a lot of content, especially as you're scaling, which that's something that needs to happen. But I think that also just like within the marketing sphere and the ad sphere, it's just like you need to know your numbers. And a lot of people just don't know their
Mm,
numbers. And like they might think that they know their numbers, but when they actually get into it, like we thought we knew our numbers, but until we went through due diligence and like we had to go through every
mm,
single line item and understand what like the interest rates we were paying within there, and like how does that impact like our payback periods, everything of that sort. Like we definitely didn't know our numbers.
mm.
And I just think that a lot of people just don't know their numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. Andrew, we're pretty much running out of time, but there's one question I always want to ask, which is, outside of ads and marketing, right? Like just if you think of NoonBrew in general, if you had to start this company all over again, what would you do differently?
Know my numbers a lot better. And I think that measuring NPS. So
Mm,
that was something that also through due diligence we started doing, and now we have a really good handle on it. But measuring NPS and consistently improving our product. I think it's very
yeah.
easy to think that like your first product is going to be the best product, but if you don't consistently improve your product, then eventually, you have to, measuring retention, all of that type of stuff. Like just like consistent improvement of product um is a massive, massive one. Um and I think that those few things, NPS obviously fits in with that, but just understanding your numbers from an NPS view, from a margin view, from a payback period view, runway view, that's extremely important. Not scaling that fast
Mm,
until you know that you have really good products and good customer cohorts is really important. And then consistent product improvement.
amazing. Love this. Now, we've been talking to Andrew Case, who's the co-founder of NoonBrew. Now, Andrew, if people want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Best way is probably Twitter. I'm not as active as I want to be, but I'm going to get better at that. But yeah, or also noonbrew.co.
I was
Noonbrew.co,
going
we
to say
just
otherwise.
released Peach. Yeah, we just released Peach, which tastes incredible. And we're about to come out with a new formula for our hot cocoa. I mean, that was a little bit of a Freudian slip. We're launching hot cocoa next month for Moonbrew.
Amazing.
And that tastes incredible. So it's a new formula for Moonbrew, hot cocoa, and it's killer. It's amazing. So yeah, check that out once it's available in late March.
Awesome. Well, guys, you know where to go check that out. Go ahead and subscribe. And
Yes,
Andrew, thank you so much. That was a pleasure.
appreciate it. Thank you.